Welcome to a new update today in which we're going to discuss a few altcoins and definitely we're going to discuss the top altcoins to check out for the month of November. But before that, do not forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. The first altcoin that I've got here is Polkadot at this point, in which we are seeing a structure of some beautiful retests, and in which we can also see some crucial levels that it should be holding on to if we want to avoid any market breakdown. So the area that I'm looking at, or the two areas that I'm looking at with Polkadot, and especially given the fact that we're still creating higher lows here and also higher highs in this trend, the assumption is made that as long as we stay above this area of 5600 sats, I think that we're going to have continuation happening, in which we might flip this high and create ourselves a new high. If we're using Fibonacci extension for that, actually in the previous high and the previous low, we can derive that we can test the all-time high region in the next impulse wave. So what are the areas that you should be looking at when it comes to Polkadot? That is the area that we have around 6000 sats here, and then the second level is around 5700, but you preferably do not want to see it break beneath that zone. You clearly want to see it around the all-time high region happening, and you clearly want to see strength from the first crucial level here, which is around 6600 sats. Also, another layer 1 that is most likely going to do well is Cosmos. We might be getting a corrective move like we have been seeing here, especially given that we've just had a retest, and if you go back in history, it might be possible, and especially when Bitcoin is going to accelerate, that we get a more corrective move. And to be sure to say that if Bitcoin is going to show strength, it might be the case that altcoins are going to correct even more in their Bitcoin pairs. And we're looking at the Bitcoin pairs because of the fact that the Bitcoin pairs show whether they have strength against Bitcoin or not. The USDT pairs can be quite confusing, in which altcoins are also running up in their USDT pair if Bitcoin is going to do well and their Bitcoin pairs remain stable. So looking at the markets right now when it comes to Atom against Bitcoin, this is the first zone that you're looking at, and then the second zone that we are having here is the area around green. Actually, there's three. First one, you can start scooping in between 56 to 58 if it depends on me. 52 is the next one, and then finally around 45. Target zone, quite simple. First one, that's the high here, and then the Fibonacci extension tool can be making us a target zone around 13,500 sats. That is the next 1618 Fibonacci level, and it's also a layer 1 through which it seems very likely that we're going to get strength through this one too. And then I've stated DeFi, and then it comes to one that has been showing strength and is actually going to be deflationary instead of inflationary, because that was the actual reason for this heavy crash south. What do we see with Curve? It's actually still consolidating within a range. Support resistance has been acting for almost a year, which is currently the point where we are still acting between, and when we're going to make a breakthrough out of this range, I think we're going to have a heavy impulse wave, and you can use the Fibonacci extension as a target zone on that perspective, but we can also be using just simply the resistance zones that we're getting here. So this entire region is an area that we should be looking at for take profits. This previous resistance zone becoming a resistance once again, that is a target zone that we could be looking at when Curve is going to break out of this resistance zone. Areas to look at, this is first one, 6500 sats. The entire block here might be an interesting point for you. It might be difficult because of the fact that we're just consolidating here and are not going to get the actual entry point completely going at this stage. So breakout above resistance would be cracking, as then we're going to get towards those ranges here. The fourth one is also relying on DeFi, given that oracles are used for it. It is Chainlink, which is currently bouncing from support, deriving a good bounce in this area, especially given that this is the previous high, and now we're also seeing some strength. What do you want to see? Well, you want to see a clear retest of this area of support, or you want to see higher time frame level flip for support, which we have also been discussing previously. I'm doing it wrong. This is the area that we should be looking at. So the area around 4,500 sats is the area where you want to clearly see support hold. If that is not going to be the case, you want to see a bullish divergence happening around the low before we're going to continue. But given the heavy correction that Chainlink has still been making during this year and has not been showing too much strength yet, and DeFi is probably going to wake up, this is going to grant a massive opportunity still, and I'm still heavily interested. Final one is maybe an outlier in this entire group, but it's the graph, which has been bouncing up nicely in the past 2 weeks too, and is looking or seeking for a higher low to be happening. Quite comparable to Chainlink at this stage. If we're going to have a flip around that 1400 sats to 1500 sats level, we're going to grant ourselves continuation, as then we're flipping a higher time frame level for continuation, and then we're also going to crack this entire trend of lower highs and actually lower lows. So we are seeking for a higher low here, and if that takes place, this entire trend reversal is going to happen, through which this one, especially given the recent strength, is on the top of my list. I hope you have enjoyed this top 5. I'll be back tomorrow with a fresh new update. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and have a wonderful weekend.